Some say love is a winding road, cause a man through the darkest night. Some say love takes a heavy load, helps someone make the burden light, teaches you not to hold too tight. You and I come a long way together. You and I got a long way to go. You don't have to ask me now and then, 'cause I'm already yours. You'll always be mine. Some say love is a fire that grows, bound up when you let it.
What is up, everybody? Why is this damn screen keep doing this? Um, Give me 1 second. I don't know why this thing wants to do this every time and act funny. Yeah, there we go. Guys, you know I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible, paying those bills. And first and foremost is going to be my friends over at BLUON. What a lot of you don't know that I've preached all the stuff that they offer for technicians, whether it's the parts, the manuals, um, tech support, all that kind of stuff is there. Well, now if you look on their website, they have something now that is called BLUON for Business, BLUON for Contractors. And what really makes this amazing is now, as a business owner, a manager, that you can give this amazing resource to all of your technicians. So you got a bunch of people in here talking, but when you go down, I want to show you a couple of things. Um, so these basic free plans, obviously, you know, BLUON tried to be free for the longest time, especially when they started doing the parts. The whole point was the suppliers were going to pay a small fee. And in the end of the day, they were going to make it so technicians never had to pay for it. Well, you know what? That didn't work. And you guys know that I am deeply involved in BLUON. I love everybody over there, from Mr. Peter, the CEO, to Danica, all the way down to the other everybody that works there. Um, they it broke their heart to be able to have to charge for this, but I get it. It's kind of hard to provide 24-hour tech support and all these other things and just to do it for free. So I think that they've flipped it around. They've tried to do something as best they possibly could. So obviously, free now, you only get to look up three units per month, and then you only get 3 times to use the Master Mechanic AI access. That is the Master Mechanic tech support. The more information you give that, that thing goes and searches the hundreds of thousands of tech support calls that BLUON has ever done and will spit out the answer. Like I told all of you several times, I have tried to mess this thing up, and it's been able to give me a good answer every time. Obviously, anything when it comes to AI, the the better the question you give, the better the answer you get. And I'm going to try to do a video where I'm going to record my screen so you can actually see that. But now with that free plan, you do not get live tech support access. You do not get replacement part, and you do not get team management or training insights. Now with BLUON for Business, the owner of the business can pay and get access to all of his technicians, where he can watch and see what you do. He knows that you're using it, whether you're ordering parts, to be able to track it, to make them feel at ease. They know what they're paying for. But then the technicians get all of this access to be able to go on one app, look up all the part numbers. How it is, Nate, nowadays, we always want to get OEM parts, but, sometimes they're 2 or 3 weeks out. So now you can call over to the supply house or send over to supply house, and they're going to know all the parts that'll work with that unit you're looking for. It just makes it simpler. We have so much things that we have to do in a day, searching for parts and trying to get the customer taken care of. This just made it one step easier. All right. So with that being said, go, if you're not the owner of the company, go tell your owner, hey, we need BLUON for Business. I heard this is awesome. It's only going to help us be better for you. And make sure your boss gets you BLUON for Business. All right. With that being said, Next is going to be my friends over at CompanyCam. This is another one that is more for business owners. You guys know that I use HouseCall Pro, and CompanyCam is an add-on to several of the most popular CRMs that are out there. So whether you're using HouseCall Pro, Service Titan, some of these other ones, you can still use CompanyCam. CompanyCam is the way to organize your photos and how you communicate to your customers. All right. This will geotag, timestamp, everything that you could possibly need when it comes to taking pictures before and afters, especially depending on what you trade you're in. Some people, even though this is HVAC Uncensored, I've had a lot of people that listen to this that may be roofers, they may be plumbers, electricians. This is good for all of us. All right. Nowadays, you should be doing before and after pictures, whether it is before, this is the bad capacitor, this is the bad motor, this is before I change it, this is after. It just shows you have a little bit of integrity, and it makes that customer feel at ease. Because sadly, there's a lot of d-bags out there in our industry that we have to go up against, and it makes customers feel a little unsettled. These are little things that we can do to make them know that we're not those people and that we are raising the bar in our industry. Nothing is going to make it easier than CompanyCam. Not even just the pictures, the way you can communicate with your technicians through CompanyCam. And I've been working with them to get them on here to be able to explain, because CompanyCam has grown so much since I've been partnered with them. There's things that I don't even know yet. I haven't even got to use. It's so awesome. And that's how fast they're growing. So I tell people this. I'm not trying to sell it to you. Go schedule a free demo for CompanyCam. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But go take a look at it. It's absolutely amazing. If you go to www.companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored, they will give you a free 14-day trial. And then if you decide to go for it, they will give you a 50% off your first 3 months. All right, enough paying those bills. Got an amazing show. Let's get on with the pledge and rock and roll. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, Friday night, a special night. Gonna try to end this show right around 9 o'clock, give or take a few minutes, so that all of you can go over and check out my friends at HVAC Overtime. I don't like to overlap all of those guys, but I've been waiting to do this episode for a while, and we're gonna get in that in a second. Obviously, you guys see my youngest daughter, Sophia, is here hanging out for a little bit until her food comes. She wanted to come down and hang out with Daddy, so she is here. Thank you to everybody that's already in here. Mr. Freon, Leon, what is up, my man? Nasty. Zeke, what is up, brother? Jason Johnson, what's up, my man? Brian Sanders. Let's see who else we got here. Did I miss somebody? I think I got everybody. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. Real fast before I introduce this guest. Freon Leon, this is what I was sending to you, my man. This is the bag that I'll be sending to you. This is the... What the hell is this bag? Oh, this is the TPLC. So this is the bag I was talking about that I'm going to send to you, buddy. And then real fast. This is the bag for Mr. Sammy, the Tech MCT, the blacked out edition. So I'll show them again at the end so everybody can see them. With that being said, man, I have an amazing guest tonight. I met this person years ago at the HVAC Tactical Awards show in Vegas. And we had such a cool conversation, and I've been able to talk to him at all of the AHR since then. Follow him on social media. And He does so many more things than I could ever have known in these, half an hour, 45-minute conversations we had. We've semi kept in touch. Not as well as you probably should. That's my fault. I'm not good at that. But yeah, I think he has an amazing story, and I can't wait to hear this. The fact that I told him off air, I think this might need to be a two-part episode. That I think his story is so cool. So, with that being said, guys, please put your hands together and help me welcome Mr. Robert Kraft, aka the HVAC Slayer, on Instagram. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Good,
How you
man.
doing?
Thank you
I'm
so
doing
much for
great,
being here
thanks.
tonight. What's that?
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, of course, buddy. Here, hold on. All right, go ahead and go, honey. Go eat your food. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I started. Please don't slam the studio door. All right. Bye, babies. Bye, honey. Yeah, man. So everybody is so. I I told you, man, that I think that you have an amazing story, and I know it's going to be hard to get into all of it tonight. If we can, great. If not, then we're definitely going to have to roll this back for a part two. But without even getting into the whole Jumper King side yet, I guess let everybody know a little bit about you and what you do in the trade, how long you've been in, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up in the ghetto in California, single parent, really poor, food stamps, welfare, a lot of. I've seen a lot of stuff early on as a kid, and it's kind of a wild upbringing. And then fast forward to my teen years, around 16 years old, I was in school, high school. And I didn't like school whatsoever, and I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career. So I ended up this is back in the 80s and 90s. So I ended up getting into the party scene, and I started partying pretty bad, and or good or bad. And I'll just start out right here. So I got into drugs pretty hard, and I did that for like 12 years, and so I'm very thankful to be where I'm at today. But we'll kind of go back just a little bit to when all my friends graduated high school, and I didn't graduate high school. I didn't care what a molecule was. I didn't care when they started putting letters in math. It was like, okay, I'm out. I don't care what A plus B is, type of thing. Just didn't interest me. So a lot of my friends went on to their careers and college and things like that, and after high school, I was just kind of lost. I'm like, I wanted to always own my own business, probably since maybe 15 or 16, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So anyways, so I'm 18, just out of high school, and all my friends, like I said, are working. And I'm like, shoot, maybe I messed up. I didn't graduate. I don't have a career. What am I going to do? So I'm just kind of sitting there one day, and my stepdad comes home from the coffee shop and says, hey, Robert, a friend of mine wants help doing some work tomorrow. I just thought I'd let him know that my stepson needs a job, and he said he needs help. And I said, well, what does he do? He says he does heating and air conditioning. I said that sounds kind of cool. What do I got to do? He said you got to meet him at 5:00 a.m. At it was called Millie's Restaurant over there in Covina, California. And anyways, I'm like 5:00. I get up at 11. What do you mean 5:00? I'm just typical 18-year-old with nowhere, no. I don't know where I'm going in life. So, anyways, I showed up the next morning, and I've been doing HVAC ever since. And that was in 1990. I really loved. It gives me goosebumps. I really loved. I started off as a helper and get this, get that tool and stuff like that. But I really loved how every day was totally different, and how much there was to learn in it and things like that. So it really intrigued me. And so I got into the HVAC industry, and I excelled really fast. I was excited to go to work. I was excited to have, uh, you know, something going on for me in life. And even though I was still partying a little bit, I was kind of like a closet partier. I was ashamed of doing what I was doing. And so, I was able to hide it for many years, but after so many years, I couldn't hide it anymore. But anyways, got in the HVAC industry. About 3 years into it, I switched companies, and that company actually put me through a trade school at a college, for a 2-year trade school to learn the HVAC theory, and they paid for it.
Nice.
And I was like, this is great. And so, I started excelling in the HVAC industry. And it was like a match made in heaven. It was something I really enjoyed doing, and I made some pretty good money at it. And learning something new every day is pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
So you want me to continue on?
Yeah, no, we will here in a second. Just to touch on what you've already said is actually some great information, because I don't know if you actually know, Robert, my story that I fell into drugs, man. I was a drug addict, and I'm very open with it because obviously I'm ashamed of it. I wish it never happened, but it did, and I try to be open with it because it's so prevalent in the trades. And people know that, hey, you're not the only one, man. A bunch of us have been through this. We've beat it. There's a reason that I have the 2% tattooed on my arm, is because only 2% of addicts actually end up making it. Most of my friends are dead. They're buried. They're tattooed on me too. So when I hear stories like that, man, I know how hard it was. That it starts off just partying, having a good time because you're young and dumb, and you get so far down a fucking road that by the time you turn around, you're like, oh shit, where am I? So that's awesome that you were able to find your way. And also we need to realize that sometimes HVAC can be that path out of it. My dad did this trade, so I just willy-nilly didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And my dad was like, hey, either come work for me or get out of my house. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to go work for you. And I didn't love it day one.
Mhm.
And I think that I did it. I just enjoyed spending time with my dad. And then after a few years, I realized what my dad had given me. And I'm like, hey man, like I make more money than most of my friends. And this is actually pretty fun. Imagine if I actually tried to be good at this. And that's when I started sticking my nose in the books, etc. So I appreciate your story because it's different but similar in the same way. So how long were you in the industry before you were like, I'm going to open my own company kind of deal?
Just about 10 years, almost on the nose. Just about 10 years, yeah. I worked for many different companies and kind of learned a lot from, I worked for big companies, small companies, and anywhere in between. Probably, I would say in 10 years' time, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 companies. When I wasn't happy at a company, I knew what I was capable of and what I was bringing to the company. If they didn't realize that or see that or appreciate that, I would try to go to somewhere that would, So yeah, 10 years into the trade. And then in 2001, I finally bit the bullet and started my own business.
Nice. And I know that you have a different story than some people.
So
Because the fact that you've switched states, and then I also know, I didn't mean to interrupt you, that little lag is getting in there, so my apologies. And I also know when I first met you, you had like kind of your own thing that I'd never heard of. You were doing something with like dealerships, which I thought was awesome. I'm like, dude, this is genius. So I love to hear a little bit about that. And then also running a business nowadays and being a business owner is hard enough, yet alone picking that business up and going to this state and then picking it up and taking it to another state. So I think that's pretty awesome. I'd love to hear about that.
Oh, absolutely. I'll just back up just a hair, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
when I started my business in California in 2001, I was just dating my wife at the time. We were just, dating at that time, and I started doing okay. And then by 2005, 4 or 5, I had 5 guys working for me. I was making a ton of money. Life was great. I was buying houses, doing real estate. I was flying helicopters for a hobby. I had boats, cars, you name it. I was, making a lot of money in my mid 30s. Still partying here and there. I'd get on a binge every once in a while, and then by the time 2006 hit, my son was born. Sorry, man. I'm an emotional guy, so
Hey,
you
you
guys
don't
got
got
to
to
deal with it.
apologize
That's
to
just
me,
how I
brother.
am,
You ain't
man.
got to apologize to me.
I wear my heart on my sleeve. anyways, my son was born. I said, fuck this. I'm not going to do any more drugs. I'm going to be a dad because I didn't have a dad in my life. I'm going to be a dad and get my shit together. So I did. Never touched it ever since. I haven't touched drugs since 2006. And one of the best decisions of my life.
Well, let's stop
So
right there
anyways,
real fast,
so
dude. Hold
doing
on, let's
good.
stop right there real fast. Congratulations to you, man, because not everybody has that moment, and not everybody is man enough when they have a child to realize that this child depends on me. So you don't have to apologize for your emotions on here, man. And touche to you and congratulations, man. That's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. It was, I felt, I just didn't want I was living like two lives. I was living a successful business life and I was living a drug life at the same time. And after a while, I couldn't hide it anymore. I looked terrible. I was doing, I started out with cocaine and I was doing crystal meth. And that was the kind of thing to do in the 90s and 80s. If you wanted to go out with the hot chicks, you got to party. And so I did. And I liked hot chicks. So, it's just, but after a while, it turned into, I was just kind of getting weird, and I wasn't productive anymore. And I was overbuilding stuff and just getting all tweaked out. And I just had enough of it. When my son was born, I said, you know what, I'm going to, they say, get out of your comfort zone and things like that. But I was comfortable in that zone, and it was uncomfortable to be a sober guy and a business guy and a dad, something I wasn't used to. So I finally made that jump, and best decision of my life, man. That's probably the best decision of my whole life, is to go down a different road. So, anyways, by the time 2007, 2008 comes around, I'm just cranking, doing great. I had a bunch of commercial accounts, a bunch of residential accounts. Living a dream. I was netting like $700,000 a year, like in my early 30s.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, cool, man. I finally made it. And I was really happy, and I was spending money like crazy because I grew up, like I said, I didn't have anything growing up. All my friends had, their parents were able to buy them skateboards and bicycles. I had to just piece my stuff together, and it was rough, whatever. But I think that rough part of my life really helped me develop to who I am and what I've accomplished nowadays. It's really made me kind of tough, street smart, and I know what it's like to struggle, and I don't like it. So it gives me a lot of motivation to this day. But so then 2009 happens and the economy crashes, and I literally lost all my brand new work trucks, my 2,000 square foot shop, my boat, my home, my rental house, just disaster. Because I all my money, I just remodeled my dream home at the time. This is in Orange County, California. Put like 200 and something grand into that place, and I figured I'll make it up in a couple months. But it just kind of hit so hard that I didn't have any money to keep my company going or pay my bills. So I ended up short selling our house, and it was tough because my wife's dad just developed cancer at the time, and I'm really close to my brother. I got my brother in the HVAC industry in California. He still does it to this day, and runs it under my license to this day. I've had my license in California for over 20 years, and he's doing great. But I had to leave my best friend, my brother, and my mom, and start over again. I went to Colorado with $1,800 to my name and $200,000 in debt after building all that up. So it was pretty wild change in my life. I remember my son, I had one work van that was paid off. It was kind of, probably my worst work van. So I had that left. My wife's car, my son was 3 at the time, and our dog. And we just left and started a new life in Colorado, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know anybody out there, no family, no friends. And the reason why I picked that is that state is because it has hot and cold. Because in California, even when I was rolling the winter time, I had to do a lot of new construction and custom homes and work with GCs and stuff like that to keep my guys busy. because the service repairs is always down, for a few months. California, when it's like kind of mild weather, it was always tough on me. So I wanted to go to a client or a state that was cheaper at the time, much cheaper to live, and that was hot and cold. So I had a better chance at working all year. And so we just hit the road, and my son held a. I hope this ain't a fucking emotional show, man. But my there's a lot of emotions in my life, man. I've been through a lot of hell and a lot of great things. But my son was holding an American flag out the window of my work van in his little car seat, like almost all the way to Colorado, and we started over.
That's awesome.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And hey, man, this is I mean, and I didn't even know this part about your story, but this is why I love hearing people's story and the raw emotion behind it, because when I tell my full story, I get emotional as well. I had a good life. I mean, as far as like, I had both parents. All of the pain that I endured was self-induced. I caused it on myself. And um it was shitty. I created all those problems for myself. And then when I finally got myself straight, and I've said this before, it was like, man, if I put the kind of effort that I put into finding drugs and being a shitbag, if I put that kind of effort into being successful and doing something with myself, I know that I can go to where I, be what I want to be. And I think everything's happened for a reason, that I had to endure that pain and go through that hell to be able to get what I want. And thing isn't all peaches and cream now. There's a lot of things that still go on. But it what molds us into who we are, man. And I think it's fucking awesome. Nothing but respect that you came out of it. And a bunch of people in the chat are saying the same thing. That you quit doing what you were doing to be a dad, and then that's nothing but respect for you, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. At the time, I didn't really understand why me. A lot of people went down in 2009, but I quit drugs. I was doing the right thing and building my life, doing the right thing, treating customers right, and doing all the right stuff. And I just thought, I don't know why this is happening, but it's kind of crazy, because if I could do this all over again, I would do it again, because I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about life and what I'm capable of doing, and it ended up being a really good learning experience, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of glad that I went through that. And I never even thought about going back to drugs either. That didn't even cross my mind, which I thought was cool. That's when I kind of thought, you know what? I'm past the drug shit finally. I'm not even, because you always go back to that if you feel sorry for yourself and you want to kind of, close off from the world and get all drugged out. It didn't even cross my mind. I thought, you know what? Let's go to Colorado. Let's go out there and kick some ass. And I want to, I'm good at what I do. I treat people right. And let's go out there and make a name for myself. So that's what I did. I mean, it took me like 3 years to get going out there. It was really rough. One good thing that's really been blessed in my life is my wife has always worked. She's an accountant, and she has always kept a really steady job, steady paycheck, makes decent money. So that's always helped out, to kind of my foundation to where I can, if we live, be by our means, I can have a chance to start my business. So that was key. And I actually joined a golf country club in Colorado, because I started out in residential and it was just kind of fizzling out. I needed marketing money and stuff like that. That's the key to residential to get started, is marketing. I didn't have the funds for that. So I joined a golf country club, and I couldn't even afford the monthly payments on it. I said, I'm going to go there, I'm going to golf, and I'm going to meet people. I'm going to tell them my story and tell them I need work. I'll change your water heater. I'll fix your light. I'll change your light bulb. I'll change the tires in your car. I don't give a shit. I need to provide for my family and do it. So anyways, that's what I did. That was my mindset. So fast forward, I got this call out of the blue. This guy calls me and says, hey, come over and look at my unit. A company was here before and I don't trust them. And because I was on this like local Google search. It was a small town, so me and like 2 other companies were on this, in the area in Colorado, and so he called me anyways. I went there and I fixed him up and treated him right. And he goes, you know what? I own a car dealership. I like the way you work, and I really admire the kind of person you are and the way you handle your business. When I have a repair over there, I'll give you a call. I said, cool. And so I didn't think much of it. I'm like, who knows who'll call me. But sure enough, he calls me, and he said, this company quoted me like $3,500 to do this job. And I'm not an HVAC guy, but I'm not a dummy either. I think they're overcharging me. And this company's been with these dealerships for 18 years. So I go there and I check it out, and I'm like, $1,200, and it's fixed. And I made a lot of money. I wasn't undercutting the industry. I don't like doing that, but I charge them a fair price. And he goes, wow, this is crazy. Okay, so they're taking advantage of us because they've been with us for 18 years, and we don't go up on the rooftops and look at all these rooftop units. So they started looking into them, and they finally found out that they're getting ripped off big time. So that's when I inherited my first dealership. Well, unbeknownst to me, this company that owned that dealership, like he was the GM and part owner, but there was a company a guy that founded that dealership, an older guy, and they have 28 car dealerships. And so 1 turned into 2, turned into 3. Next thing you know, a year or 2 later, I'm rolling with 34 car dealerships under maintenance account, maintenance agreements, and changed my life. I made a ton of money. I was able to pay off my $200,000 debt. I was able to, provide a good lifestyle for my family. And we finally got out of our rental, because when we lost everything in California, my credit score went from 815 to 5 something. And we couldn't, could barely even qualify to rent a place out there. So we rented for a few years and finally bought our first home, I think in 2014 or 12, whatever it was. I can't remember. But so things started getting good. I was out of debt, making good money. And it was a cool little niche, because that's all I did is car dealerships. I did have one bowling alley and one coffee shop, but commercial maintenance was my thing. And so I charged the dealerships monthly fees for their monthly billing for their car dealerships. So I was pulling in a really good monthly income, whether I worked or not, which was something I wasn't used to. Even in California, I was making good money, but some months I'd make 40 grand, some months I'd make 6. It was all over the place. I didn't know how to budget myself. But this I had a monthly income that I made, and then repairs and replacements were on top of that. So I killed it out there. Was doing really well. When I do the maintenance, it would take me like a month to go through all these buildings and change filters and belts and check them all out. I did a good job and was real thorough. So a lot of times I wouldn't get any calls for a week or 2. So I was out there golfing, and if they called me and I was on the golf course, I'd go to my car and go home, change my clothes, and go to the service call. So I was kind of on call in the meantime, and it was a great life. I did that for quite a few years out there. And then let's say about 2 years ago, everything's flowing nice, right? And everything's good. And then my wife goes to the doctors and gets a mammogram and a normal checkup and stuff. And, because she had a lump or whatever, and boom, breast cancer.
Oh, man.
So then we're sitting. The family is sitting at the table. By this time, my daughter's born. She was born in 2014. We're sitting at the dinner table, trying to digest this, this new news, right? Bad news, breast cancer. Okay, great. Well, we get a call right when we're having dinner and discussing this from the doctor, and because they were doing blood tests on her, they said you need to get to the ER right now. I don't care what you're doing, drop it and get to the ER with it right this minute. And we're like, what the hell just happened? What's going on? So we go to the ER, and then they
You're good,
They
buddy.
diagnosed her with leukemia.
Oh my God.
Since she has leukemia, out of the blue, not even related. So then they're dealing with that, And then they start, looking at her and stuff, and then they say she has skin cancer. So, like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm the one that partied all my life. I'm the one that smoked cigarettes and did all this shit. Why isn't this happening to me? My wife's always been straight-laced and just a, good, hardworking person. It was weird. So, anyways, fast forward from there, we got that taken care of. She had her breast removed. Got that. They were able to take out the cancer mostly and get her on some serious medication on the leukemia. They reconstructed her whole nose. They had to do plastic surgery on her whole nose. That's where she had the skin cancer and a few other spots. Got all that done, a year later. And then the doctor says, at the altitude you guys live with her leukemia, it's probably not the best thing to do, to live at this high altitude. It's not life or death thing, but, there's not much oxygen because we lived at 7,500 feet elevation up in the mountains, higher than Denver, higher than Colorado Springs. And, I had a 3-acre property, pine trees, deer, we were doing good. And, as you guys seen, I was able to build a show truck and drag that around the country with my family and go to truck shows and things like that. And, all that, that was before this diagnosis and all that kind of thing. So life was good. And then all that happened. And then so we're like, well, we need to move down to a lower elevation and, make sure mom stays as healthy as possible. And I didn't want to go back to California because, a lot of reasons. I didn't want to go back there. And I didn't know where we wanted to go. And my son, I'll just say it, I don't give a shit, whatever, but I think people know by now. But my son goes, let's go to Florida. I'm like, Florida? I'm like, shit, it's hot out there. AC works probably good out there. And, it's low altitude, obviously. And so we started thinking about it and looked at, the equity in our house. We had a little bit. And so I said, hey, let me try to sell my business. My business was worth, it was a one-man show, about $400,000. I got it appraised by a business broker. And I'm like, cool, man. We can move and have a couple bucks in our pocket and start over again. And so I had my business on for sale for like 4 months and a couple of looky-loos. But the problem with it was, and I learned another lesson here is when I leave, I'm the business. People hired Robert. They didn't hire, my company name was HVAC Maintenance Company. They didn't hire the company. They hired Robert. And so when I leave, my business is pretty much worthless. Yeah, they can get the accounts, but who's to guarantee that they're going to keep these accounts? So I wasn't able to sell my business, and I had to close my business with zero, walk away from it.
Man.
So that was tough. My customers, they literally cried like I'm crying today. I'm a tough motherfucker, man. But I'm emotional. I don't need to act tough or all that shit, man. I'm not insecure. I've been through a lot of shit, and I'm a tough guy, but I'm also an emotional guy, and I'm kind of proud of that because I don't have to, try to prove anything to anybody, man. I'm who I am. If you don't like it, I don't care. But a lot of people do like me because I am that way. But anyways,
You're
so
authentic.
my
You're
customers
authentic.
literally cried when I left. They're like, Robert, yeah, for sure, definitely. I'm a real, I don't hide shit. Anyways, so my customers are like, what are we going to do? We waited 18 years to find someone like you. We're not going to be able to replace you. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, they made me feel so bad, but they didn't mean to. But they're like, we understand your wife's, situation, and we wish you the best. So we basically packed up, sold our house, lived in an apartment building for a couple months, which was a very tough thing to do, coming from, making all that money and stuff. And I had a little bit of savings, but nothing crazy. I spent a lot of it on my show truck. I was kind of blindsided, I mean, my show truck cost a lot of money, and I didn't build it for, a lot of people here have seen my, I'll talk about my Jumper King HVAC, Nate, that's coming up. But the show truck, me and my son, it was me and my son's project. We said, let's build a show truck. We were into big trucks. I've always liked big trucks. And he's like, I said, let's build one. And we built it together. I mean, I paid for a lot of companies to do some work on it, but I ended up having 32 sponsors on that truck. I think I put about $160,000 into that truck. And it wasn't because, hey, look at my truck, how cool it is. I wanted to take that to SEMA. And SEMA is like AHR for the vehicle industry. You know, it's the biggest car show in the world. It's in Vegas every year. And so we built the show truck and we traveled across. We went to Texas, Missouri, Florida, and Vegas, you know, and towed it behind my other truck and traveled the country. And this is back in the COVID days when everyone like locked down wearing masks, and we're out there saying, you know what, if we die of this shit or whatever it was, because we didn't know at the time what was going on, we're going to go out and have some fun. Let's go have fun. I'm not going to sit at home locked down. And so we went out and we had a lot of fun. But anyways, we moved to Florida, packed it up again with very little savings, and found a nice home out here. I actually took a break from HVAC. I think I'm going through my story fast, but I'm getting through it a lot faster than I thought. So, that's cool, because then we could talk about Jumper King and stuff like that. But so now that I'm in Florida, I got here a year and a half ago. I thought, I've been grinding my ass off since 1990, all my life. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to get my family settled into this house. There's a lot of repairs that we had to do, and I'm going to get that settled in. I'm going to take like 3 months off, and then I'm going to go. I thought about going to work instead of starting my own business. I'm almost 52 years old. I thought I could be a project manager or a service manager or something like that, and get paid a good salary and just live the easy life. Get home at 5, be done with it. I tried that. I worked for 2 companies out here, and I didn't like it for different reasons. And so I'm like, shit, well, that didn't work out. So I actually got my real estate license. I've always wanted to get my real estate license just because I'd like to get in, and, when I start doing good again, I'd like to get into some investment properties and try to get some monthly income coming in, maybe a couple rentals or something like that. It was a goal I've always wanted to do. So I got my real estate license, and next thing you know, a year goes by. And, I'm working on my inventions, by the way, a lot. In fact, in 2024, I made a New Year's resolution. I don't really believe in that stuff, but I made one anyways. I said, I'm going to work on my inventions. I got a ton of ideas. I know, a lot about inventions and patenting, and I took classes on that and stuff. I'm going to work on that, while I'm getting my real estate license and figuring out what I'm going to do here. So after about a year of being out here and taking a break, get my real estate license, I worked on a bunch of projects, and then I thought, shit, my bank account's not looking too well. I got to start my own HVAC company again, because that's what I do. That's what's in my heart. And that's what I know how to make money at. And I know I can do it. So 2 months ago, I started my own HVAC company out here, and I'm already killing it, man. I mean, it's so cool. I'm so blessed. I take care of people, dude. I charge a fair price. I don't undercut the industry. I don't overcharge people. But what I do is I create a good experience for these people. When a contractor comes into my house and he's there for a few minutes and he doesn't talk, doesn't ask me questions about, or doesn't pet my dog. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with people like that. I create a relationship with every one of my customers. I pet their dog. I ask them about their pictures on the wall. I talk small talk with them. I fix their stuff. I always do a little bit of extra stuff. If I'm there to say the capacitor's bad, I'll check the pressures. I'll wash their coil real quick. I'll give them an hour of my time, 45 minutes to an hour of my time, and make it worthwhile and create a relationship. And that customer you'll have for the rest of your life, and they'll refer you out. I've already got 18 residential, something like that, just counted the other day, maintenance contracts. And I have a brand new car dealership that I just landed like 4 days ago out here in Florida. So pretty excited about that, because I know how all that works. So I'm rocking and rolling as far as that goes. This HVAC Nate says, how do I deal with difficult customers? I take it with a grain of salt. I've had customers where they just complain about everything, and I basically fire them. But if they're complaining about the money, I say, look, you know what? I'll give you your whole money back. I'll give you everything back that you paid for. I don't want any bad reviews. We'll just part our ways. And, so you take a couple losses, but that doesn't happen very often. Even hard to deal with customers. I always try to charm them. And, there's a nice person in there somewhere, and I try to dig that out of them and let them know I'm here to help you. I'm here to be of service to you. So, I try to make them appreciate all my experience and what I'm trying to do for them. Even if they're douchebags, I'll still, stick to my guns, because I do it a certain way, and whether the customer's cool or not, that's just how I do it.
Yeah, that's
HVAC Nate's asking a lot of questions. I don't know how much I should interact or whatever, but so yeah, the invention thing. When I'm in Colorado, let's go back to the Jumper King. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Go ahead. And first, before we get into the Jumper King, I want to thank you for sharing that whole story, man. And emotional. To be honest, you almost had a tear in my eye. And everybody out here doesn't have to hear my story. They know. But you'd be surprised how many similarities we have, brother. That's all I'm going to say. You'd be surprised how many similarities we have. So as you're saying that, I'm thinking things in my mind, taking me to places, and it almost makes me want to get, emotional. So I appreciate you being genuine, being real, and sharing. I didn't know that that's what you were going to do, but I appreciate you being real and sharing that story, man, because you'll be surprised. Somebody's going to listen to this and it's going to help them. I guarantee it. That's why I share my story so much, because I get emails saying, thank you so much. This motivated me, blah, 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 this. So I appreciate you doing that. But yes, on to the Jumper King and some things where we could smile and, don't got to be sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, that it's all meant for a reason. We're happy out here. My wife's doing good. She has a good job out here. And all the sad stuff and bad stuff that I've been through made it to where out here, I wasn't scared to start my own business out here one bit. I just knew that, okay, get your license, do this, do that, get your name out there, and it'll take off from there. So all those bad things I've been through in my life made me even stronger and less fearful. I really haven't been a fearful type of guy. I've always just gone for it, because my worst case scenario is a lot of people's best case scenario. And so, I'm not afraid to fail. And so all that sad stuff and all the stuff I've been through has actually been a blessing. I know that sounds weird, but, so that's kind of how I look at it. It's kind of made me who I am nowadays. And so pretty cool. But so the Jumper King, I've always had ideas. When I was a kid, I was tinkering with stuff. I was always like, this doesn't work very well. How can I make it better? And I've always had that in my head. And like 2004, I had a few ideas. I had a car air filtration system for a vehicle, because California wildfires were really bad. They're bad almost every year. And when I was driving down the freeway, even on recycle, I could still smell the smoke. And me being in the HVAC industry, I'm like, well, if I put a carbon filter in there and a bunch of media and all this other stuff, I could put that, in the cabin filter and make this kind of filter type thing that can filter out the smoke and the smell and things like that. So I started working on this idea. This is my first idea ever. It was called the Auto Be Fresh, and I called one of those companies that you see on TV that, hey, send us your invention and we'll help you out, and whatever. So I worked with them, and I worked with them for like a year. Spent $12,000, and they ripped me off, man. They ripped me off. So this is back in California when I did that. So I was like, wow. So I guess inventing isn't going to happen because it's a ruthless industry, and I didn't know about licensing at the time. I thought you had to get patents and have millions of dollars and investors and all this other stuff, and I didn't even know what licensing was or what it meant. So I kind of just got a bad taste in my mouth with inventing things, but I was still coming up with ideas, because that's just how I am. So then I came up with this magnet strap for your gauges. I was tired of my gauges falling off units and falling on the ground, getting uncalibrated and things like that. So I thought, well, I bought this dog collar or dog leash or whatever it was. I cut it down. I bought a magnet from Home Depot, and I made this little mount and put it on my gauges. When I go to a unit, I just stick my gauges right on the unit. I'm like, man, this is pretty damn cool. But I didn't know what to do with it. Like I said, I was like, I don't want to get ripped off again or have someone steal my idea. So I kind of just made my own and just, at least it worked for me and made my day easier and made it to where I didn't drop my gauges and stuff. And then I came out with, I had an idea for chop saws, miter saws. I said, it'd be cool to have a laser line on there because, when I cut wood and things like that, I can't see my line anymore, my Sharpie line or my pencil line. It'd be cool just to have a laser to show you where your line is. Well, that came out as you know, it's in all these other tools. So fast forward, that magnet strap that we're talking about, that's a Subco product nowadays, and now it's on meters and that strap with the magnets on all kinds of stuff. And someone came out with it before I did, and that's pretty cool. And so I got a little bit sad about it. Like, shoot, I even came out. This is going to sound weird. I came out with the magnet umbrella. I called it the Sunbrella, and I had 3 different attachments. I had one for sand and dirt, one a magnet, and I had a clamp. But to make me feel better, when I talked to Josh Cooley, the inventor of that umbrella, he came out with it before me, but he didn't. I don't think it came on the market till like 2012. But me and Josh are pretty good friends, really good friends actually, because we work on a lot of stuff through Trade Fox, and so he made me feel better. He came up with the idea before me, so I'm like, all right, that makes me feel better because that umbrella, is a pretty good. A lot of people have it, it's a good seller. But so what that told me, instead of feeling sorry for myself, what that told me is I have legit ideas. Like a lot of my ideas are on the market, selling and helping people. I'm like, I might have something here. I might have a blessing, with a talent. And so I thought about how do I make that work? And so I came across this company called InventRight. Some guys might have seen some posts that I've done about that. But they have this licensing. I saw it on YouTube or something. They have this licensing your ideas class. It's a class. It's a year-long class. You get a coach, and it was like $2,800. So I joined that in like 2017 to learn how do I get my ideas out there? How do I license products? So I took that class. I learned a lot of stuff about that class. Anything from patents to how to negotiate with these companies, who to call, all that stuff. And so that was like another one of my best decisions I made in my life, because I really had a clear understanding of what licensing was. I didn't have to come up with millions of dollars. All I had to do is learn the intellectual property side of things and get that in place. And then I can reach out to companies. If they like it, they spend all the money and make it and manufacture it and market it and package it and all that stuff. And I just have to have the protection on it. And so I learned how to do that. And then and this is back in Colorado. I was starting a 12.5 ton train unit, and I had jumpers, piggybacked off of jumpers. And I've been doing this a long time. I'd always do it live and just bam, stick the alligator clip of your standard jumper wires on the Y1, Y2 fan, whatever it was. And I didn't really have any problems, but I short cycled this compressor and I ruined it. It never started. Now, was it going bad already? I don't know. But I ruined it. And this was one of my car dealerships. It was about half of my car dealerships were all inclusive. So that means that I paid for all the repairs. They gave me a really healthy monthly income, but it was like a full insurance policy. Compressor goes out, anything goes wrong, it's under my dime. So it was a win-win. I did a extra good thorough job of maintenance. So the less breakdowns, the less money out of my pocket, more money I made, and the less hassles they got to deal with. So anyways, when I blew up this compressor, I'm an honest guy. I told him, I said, I was starting your unit and I short cycled the compressor and I blew it up. That cost me like $2,500 or something like that. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm tired of these stupid jumper wires. There's got to be a better tool on the market that I can hook up and turn on when I'm ready and not do this piggyback stuff with all these cheesy little jumper wires. And so I looked on the market, and there was one product that was somewhat similar out there, but it didn't really fit what I was visioning. So I'm like, I took that as a no. So I went to Home Depot right after that job, straight from that job to Home Depot, and I already had a vision in my head what I wanted to do. And I built the first Jumper King. I brought all the stuff home with me, and I built it in my living room. I had a Dremel out and all this stuff, and it looked like a mad scientist. My wife comes home from work, and there's plastic shavings all over the living room, embedded in the carpet that'll probably never come out. And because my garage was packed with all my HVAC stuff, because I was working out in my garage. So units, filters, all this stuff. So the only clear space is my living room. And so I built the Jumper King in there. My wife comes home like, what the hell's going on in here, man? You made a huge mess. Because I wasn't even paying attention. I was just like going for it. I'm like, I'm making a tool because I just cost myself $2,500 today. So I'm going to make a tool that I can hook up to a unit and turn on a switch when I'm ready to turn it on. And I can hook it up live and not have to worry about anything. So I made the first Jumper King. I go to work, I don't know, after I built that, and I tried it on the first package unit on a 20-ton rooftop, and hooked up to the fan Y1, Y2. I turned, at that time, I only had one switch. I turned on the switch, and boom, boom, boom. Fan, compressor 1, compressor 2. And I was like, this is freaking badass. This is so cool. And so I'm like, well, I know about licensing. This is a pretty cool tool. So I started calling manufacturers. I can't remember what manufacturers I called, but all the HVAC manufacturers, and I got turned down quite a few times. And I even called Supco, and they actually turned me down. And it was bad timing. They were just, it was just bad timing. They were putting a lot of money into, I think they were acquiring some other company or, big money stuff. And they're like, we just don't have the funds to invest in this at the moment, but maybe you can reach out another time. So a whole year goes by. I go to train to a barbecue to where they have all the vendors out there. And, I still have my Jumper King in my truck and in my work van, and I was using it for a long time. And it had the popper fuse, but it was really big and bulky. And the Trade Fox umbrella was there and a few other Trade Fox tools. And I asked the guy, it says technician invented, proven technician invented, their slogan. I'm like, what's this all about? He goes, oh, this is technician invented stuff. We have a new program called Trade Fox. I'm like, son of a bitch. Okay, cool. So I finished my lunch there. I got back on the freeway. I usually wait till I'm in a quiet spot to deal with business calls and things like that. I got on the freeway with my loud, rattly van, copper pipes banging in the background. I called Supco. I called Jim Adcox. At the time, he was, he's the one of the head guys at Supco. I said, Jim, we need to revisit this Jumper King. I think it's going to be a cool tool that we can do through the Trade Fox program. And he says, yeah, this is a better timing for us. And yeah, we created this program for inventors and technicians, resubmit it to us. So I did that, and we worked on a lot of prototypes. I had a lot of Universe kick my ass a few times, and I had to redesign it and go back and forth. And, it took a long time to get on the market. And it wasn't Supco's fault. It was just the universe, how the universe can be.
Yeah.
And I filed for a patent on it and all that kind of stuff. And boom, it launched September 22nd of 2023. Dave Hoosier HVAC, Dave, right? Hoosier, he did the first, I wasn't going to let the cat out of the bag yet because it was still getting on the market and it wasn't quite ready, but Supco sent him one to do a demo on, and he was the first one to ever post about that. And the cat was out of the bag, man. And at first a lot of people were talking crap about it, like, what the hell is this stuff and what is this? And then after a little while, they're like, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. This is kind of interesting. I need to check this out. And that's when the Jumper King came on the market, and it's been a pretty huge success. And, you know, I make a little bit of money on it. Nothing crazy, because licensing, you make a small percentage, but I didn't have to put $1 into manufacturing, tooling, any of that. I got a lot of money in patents at this point on that. You know, I wanted to protect it as much as I can. I have 4 patents on the Jumper King, 2 design patents and 2 utility patents. But, so, you know, it came on the market, and when people would reach out to me and go, dude, thank you so much for making this tool, man. It's really helped my day out. Blew me away, man. Blew me away. I'm like, dude, that is, I mean, I can't even describe the feeling of helping just one guy out, like do their job in the HVAC industry. Well, fast forward to now, it's been on the market a little over a year and a half. They've sold a lot of them. As you know, a lot of people reach out to me on a weekly, daily basis saying thank you. And, you know, this is a cool tool. It's saving me a lot of time. And that means the world to me, man. I've actually made a small impact in the whole HVAC industry from blowing up a compressor. And it's I pinch myself every day. It's a pretty amazing thing. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's the Jumper King. And, you know, we're always working on trying to improve it. And you know, I hear feedback, you know, there's a couple of tweaks that, you know, we're thinking about doing and whatever, but we've already improved the case a little bit. And, you know, you got to dial it in as you go. But and then another groundbreaking day for me, when I walked into Johnstone Supply and I seen it, you know, in my local Johnstone Supply, and I seen it on the shelf, I almost passed out, man.
I bet.
It was unbelievable.
I'm happy for you, man. That's
so
awesome.
cool.
That's so some of my guys have it. And so I don't have one personally, but I'm gonna to be honest, I think I'm gonna buy some, and I'm gonna do a giveaway on here and give some away. Because that is awesome, you know, just to throw back the support. And it's funny because when something like that comes out, you're like, oh man, like I always thought that would be cool. But the people who actually put in the work to make it happen, and you did that. Like a lot of people think of ideas like, oh, this would be cool, but that's where it ends. They don't put in any work to make it happen. Like you had an issue, and then you're like, okay, how can I solve this problem? And you put in your time, your own money to be able to make something. So I can only imagine how rewarding that is to see it at Johnstone, or, you know, see it, you know, people using it. Like that's got to be awesome, dude. And good for you. That's fucking amazing. I love that.
Oh, it's fucking amazing, dude. It's amazing. Yeah, and it's in all supply houses at this point. It takes a long time to get in supply houses. There's a lot of, they got to create part numbers and get it in the system and all that stuff. And Supco's doing a good job at that. It takes a good year to 2 years to get it in most every supply house. There's still a lot of supply houses that haven't even heard about it. So they're, you know, they're working on that and stuff like that. But it's an undescribable feeling, man, because, you know, I look back on where I came from, just, you know, and to where I'm at now. I survived, you know, the crazy shit, and it was cool. It was cool. It took me many years of hard work behind the scenes to get that on the market. And now, you know, I have a really good relationship with my patent attorney. He's out of Ohio. And by the way, if anyone out there is listening to this, want to reach out to me with any HVAC advice or, you know, idea advice and things like that, I'd be happy to help you out. I want to give back to the community. The HVAC industry has given me an amazing life and amazing opportunities, and I provide an amazing life for my family. And so I'd like to give back. The HVAC industry there's amazing people in this industry. There's so many people that support me and the industry itself. So if anyone out there, you know, has some questions, reach out to me. I'll try my best to steer you in the right direction. And, you know, I've already helped out a few people that have reached out to me, but I'm not saying I'm the go-to guy or whatever, but, you know, I learned it all the hard way and through grinding every day. And I know enough to get a product on the market. And with that said, this is a pretty cool announcement. If the stars align properly, I have 4 new products launching at AHR this year or in 2025. Four products.
Fuck yeah.
With 3 different companies. Fuck yeah. And been working on those for many years too. It's not a fast process at all. In fact, the best part of inventing is the day you come up with it and the day it hits the market. Everything in between sucks. It's just it takes forever. Things don't move. It's just a long process. But so this year it just happens to, a lot of them are lining, and I'm working with some great companies, and it's got some cool stuff coming out, guys. I think anyways. And so, looking forward to that.
I can't wait to see what they are, man. And obviously, before they come out, man, if you want to come back on and spread the word, just hit me up, dude. You're more than welcome on here anytime. Didn't you do something with like golf clubs?
Yeah. That's another thing I tried. So when I was in Colorado, I ended up being a big golfer because I joined that country club, met a lot of nice people, and I had like this golf group. We traveled to North Carolina, to New Mexico on golf trips. A bunch of great guys. At least at the time, I ended up befriending all these guys for some weird reasons later on. But anyways, I'm pretty picky on who I hang out with. I don't hang out with a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm focused on my family, on my business, and life. And I got a small circle of friends. But anyways, I got into golf really a lot, and I ended up getting pretty good at golf. I was down to like a 5 handicap, and because I had a lot of free time on my hands with my business model, right? And I woke up one day and I told my wife, I'm going to start a golf company, and I'm going to make my own golf clubs. And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking? Are you fucking kidding me?" She's like, "Dude, like, go take a nap or something, man. You're killing me here." And I'm like, "No, I think I can do something good for the industry." And so I did it. I took an equity line of credit out of my house. I had a little bit of money saved up in the bank, and I started my own golf business. I sourced out these a club fitter and a guy to help me with sourcing with the manufacturing and stuff. And I ended up making some of the best golf clubs in the world, man. High-end golf clubs. I had a website. The name was Smash Factor Golf, and what I'd do is I'd wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work on my golf business till about 7:30, 8, and then I'd go to work, and do my work stuff. And then I'd come home, spend time with my family, have dinner, whatever. And then about 10 o'clock at night till midnight, I'd work on my golf business every single day for a year. I grinded like a son of a bitch because it was, something new to me. It's a very challenging industry. All the big guys, Callaway, TaylorMade, all that stuff, they own the business. And I was just trying to break in there somehow with, with the little bit of money I had. And so fast forward, I had my own golf clubs. I had my own golf gloves. I had my own golf balls. I had tees. I had really nice high-end apparel. And I was actually sponsoring 5 professional long drive guys that were on the Golf Channel with some of my apparel. In fact, the deal was if they got to the finals and got on the Golf Channel on TV with my apparel, I would pay them more, and give them more money if they got to that level. And a couple of guys made it, and so I have footage somewhere in my archives of them on TV wearing my golf stuff on the Golf Channel. And my whole business model with this was when I learned the golf industry. A lot of these big companies, they don't really care about the golfer getting better, to be honest with you. And I was kind of disappointed about that because they always talk about this club will do this, it'll go farther, it'll help this. Some of it's true, but there's a lot of BS in my opinion. And I'm not bad mouthing them or whatever. They do their thing, but I just wasn't into that. So I created a golf company where it was online. You would send your video of your golf swing to me. I would forward that to my golf fitter that's been fitting golf clubs for 40 years. And he, would fit them after looking at their videos and send them information back and forth, measurements and things like that. And a set of irons were $2,800. And I mean, the metal that they were made of was equal to Japanese samurai sword metal. Super soft, nice, high quality carbon steel, And so I didn't want to just go with the average, hacker golf clubs. So I wanted to go to the high end market. So kind of like what PXG did. If anyone knows PXG, it's a high end golf manufacturer. Of course, they had a lot of money to put behind it, but so I started making a buzz because when you bought our golf clubs, we would include 3 months of golf lessons, video golf lessons from one of the best golf teachers out there. I got him on board with me. Golf fitness. So, there's a lot of the golf swing isn't a very natural thing. It's hard to do. It hurts your body. So if you do certain fitness techniques, it can really help you avoid injuries and golf better. And then mental coaching. 90% of golf is mental. And so I teamed up with these really top players in the industry to do that. And then so it was 3 months of all 3 of those for free if you order our golf clubs. And then after that, it would turn into a monthly membership. And that's how I'd start making the good money, is the membership fees and the golf, buying the golf clubs. And then I was able to, create enough income to get this business going, because the golf business is not a cheap business. And so everything was going good. And then I found out that those 2 guys that I subcontracted to source my clubs and help me with that. I designed my clubs too, by the way, but they helped me, source them and fit them. They were embezzling money behind my back and overcharging me for a bunch of stuff that I didn't know anything about. And they were stealing my money. And when I found out that, man, I didn't feel like trying to replace them because they were each of them both didn't do very good on their day jobs. So they were kind of broke and made some bad decisions in life, but they were good at fitting the clubs and at the sourcing part. They were good at that, but they didn't know how to make money at that. And they were doing other jobs. The fitting guy worked at a car dealership during the day, and then he'd fit clubs, later on. So I don't know why they didn't make it and make a bunch of money, but because they were talented guys, but they weren't good people. So I didn't feel like trying to, because I was going to give them a commission of sales, and they believed in the company and all that. So I wasn't paying them that much, and it's going to be hard to replace those guys. So I shut the company down, and I told the guy in North Carolina, that's where my club fitter lived. I said, send me my inventory. I don't want to work with you guys anymore. I had $80,000 worth of inventory at this guy's house. And he said, you know what, Robert, fuck you. I'm keeping your shit. Sue my ass. This is my stuff. I'm like, really? All right. All right. It really went through my head to fly out there and fucking take this guy out, man, because he's fucking with my family's income, with my future, with my dream for no reason, And I had some really hard feelings about both these guys. I wanted to go out there and just, take care of them. But I couldn't, I got too much to lose. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? So I ended up suing them. It cost me $8,000 in attorney fees to get my own damn equipment back. So I got my equipment back. No golf company, shut it all down. And then I had a bunch of golf equipment in my basement in Colorado, and I was just tired of looking at it. It was just kind of a hard thing to look at every day. So I ended up throwing a lot of my stuff away, and then I sold some in a garage sale. But I still have to this day 10 full sets of golf clubs. I still have some golf gloves. I still have a lot of stuff from memorabilia and things like that. But yeah, so I tried the golf business, and that's how it ended up.
Damn, that's a crazy story. Well, if you ever sell some, let me know. My father-in-law got my son into golf, and my oldest son is actually really good at golf. I play with him. I'm not very good. I just have fun. It's just fun, being out on the golf course, hanging out with people. But yeah, my father-in-law was really good. He went all over the place like you did and played golf, and he got my oldest son into it when he was younger. Bought him a set of clubs when he was like 6, and now he's 6'3", 210. So now it's a little different. But damn, dude, we're like past time, dude. And like I put in there, I said, this is one of the first podcasts that I haven't done much talking. And normally being a big mouth, that's frustrating, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this, man. Like, Robert, I knew it was going to be awesome for you to come on, but I'm so glad that you finally did. And there's just so many things that, like I said, that are similar. And, and I won't say them all right now, but, I beat testicular cancer, beat drug addiction. My mom has stage 4 lung cancer right now. My wife has a brain condition. So I know how you're feeling, dude, when you feel like life just fucking beats you down and you don't know if you can go anymore. But because of your family, you just keep fighting and
Yep.
fighting and fighting. And then sometimes fucking light opens up and good things happen. And then all of a sudden the door gets shut and you're like, well, what the fuck? But it's a vicious cycle, but you keep fucking going and you make out in the long run. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on here and being raw and sharing your story. And I promise you that I will get a couple hundred emails about this, and I'll make sure I share anything with you about you sharing your story, man. I wish we could keep going. I feel bad because the overtime show's going on and I ran over, but yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate
Yeah,
you telling
sorry
your
guys.
story.
Yeah.
Don't-
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. It helps me out to tell my story too, because it kind of reminds me of to keep on fighting, man. You got to keep on fighting, and I love my wife more than I ever thought I would because of all this. You take life for granted, and my wife's there. We've been married 21 years and together 24 total, but it really made me realize how much I need her in my life and how much I cherish my kids and life and everything else. So like you said, it all works out in the long run somehow. But I know there's a lot of questions here and stuff like that. I apologize that I went over time. I tend to ramble a lot, but I think I got through my life story pretty well, actually. So I appreciate everyone coming on, and like I said, maybe we can do a follow up, another time, and maybe for those tools launch and things like that or whatever. But if anyone wants to reach out to me, make sure you're following at Jumper King Official on Instagram and HVAC Slayer. The HVAC Slayer is my everyday kind of just random HVAC stuff, truck stuff. I just throw a bunch of stuff on there of all different kinds. And then my Jumper King is a lot of Jumper King videos and all about that. But I want to thank you so much, Gil. And I'm praying for you that you make it through all your stuff that you're going through. And I hope that my story can give someone some inspiration on, what life looks down. You look at my Instagram, man. It looks like, I have a good life. Don't get me wrong. I'm so blessed, but it's not really reality. I mean, we all go through a lot of hard times, and I just like to keep it real because a lot of people can resonate like, shit, man. I thought he was like a rock star, but now you know what I'm saying? Instagram and social media is kind of a glorified version of all the good things that have happened in your life and all that kind of stuff is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and you're 100% right.
So,
I'm the same way. Like, I have a lot of good things, and I try to be as open as possible. But not everybody knows. But I have some big changes going on in my life that I'll share with people soon. Some different avenues that I'm taking. But sometimes you have feelings in your heart, and it's just you got to do what you got to do. It defies logic, but it is what it is. And I agree with you about I've actually married the same woman twice. We've been together, yeah, for a long time, and I love that woman to death. I wouldn't be where I am without her by my side. I always say she's a pain in the ass, but she's my pain in the ass, and vice versa. So yeah, no, this is awesome, man. I actually hate to end this, man. And when we get done, I'm going to send you my number, dude. Please stay in touch. And we'll definitely set you up to come back because people are already saying part 2. Fuck yeah! So it's obviously, and the audio hasn't even went out yet. So I know that people are gonna want a part 2, man. So sadly, I got to close this out. But once again, thank you so fucking much for coming here, Robert. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much. I just want to leave you with one thought here. For you to be a normal, hardworking dad and father and all that stuff in this freaking crazy ass world is so tough. And I commend you for that. I commend myself for that, and a lot of people out there for that. It's so hard to be normal in this unnormal world and keep up the great work, because that to me is respect, because a lot of people give in to all this bullshit that's going on out there. And I'm going to refuse to do that. I'm going to stay a good person. I'm going to believe in God. I'm going to love my country. I'm going to love my military. I'm going to love my son. I'm going to love my daughter. And, I just want to leave with that, if that to me is harder and harder to do in this crazy world. So I commend you for being a good, honest person and a good, and doing what you do and all the stuff that you're going through, and keep your chin up. And I appreciate everything.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very, very much. You can hang tight, Robert, or if you have to go, man, I get it. It's late. I'm just going to close this out real fast, buddy. Guys, man, that was, I know this is a little different. I enjoyed just sitting here listening, man. I think that story was fucking powerful. And like I said, it reminded me of so many things that I've been through in my life. And, so many things kind of hit home for me. What the drugs, what he's been through, having children and changing his life, what he's been through in the trade, the ups and the downs, keeping his circle small. Like my circle is small. There's only a handful of people that I let close to me. I talk to a lot of people, don't get me wrong, and a lot of people that I call friends. But as far as people that get close to me, it's a very small few. And there was just so many things that were similar, and the fact that he's such a genuine guy, which is what I try to be. Some people think I'm an asshole. That's fine. But I will always be myself, and I won't change for anybody. And even when I started podcasting, I said, if I have to change who I am to put a microphone in front of me, then I'm not going to fucking do it. And I've stuck to my guns, and here we are all these years later and millions of downloads. So I thank everybody for appreciating that in me and sticking with me all these years. So yeah, man, go follow both of Robert's things. So HVAC Slayer, like you said, is his personal one. Jumper King is going to be actually, obviously for the Jumper King. And go buy a Jumper King. And I'm not in the everyday field, but I'm going to buy one just to buy one, to be honest with you, because I like to support people. I like to support stories. And, I think I'm going to buy some to give away as well. So, yeah, I think that's awesome, man. But I want to let you guys go over to get to my friends overtime. I know it's late, so I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out. Thank all of you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to try to do a live stream tomorrow night if I make it back in time. I'm actually going to go see Mr. Zeke Warner tomorrow morning, afternoon, whatever the fuck it is. And he's a little bit away from me. So as long as I'm back in time, I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow night. That's just going to be bullshit and hanging out. All right. With that being said, man, be safe out there. We all got somebody to make it home to. I want you to make it home the same way that you left. Keep your head on the swivel. Make sure the breaker's turned off. Whatever it may be, just please, please be safe. This is Freon Leon's. This is going out to him real fast. This is going out to Leon. And this is going out to Mr. Sam Andrew, Mr. Sammy, who wasn't here tonight. And I still have like 6 more over there. So don't worry. I got plenty of more to give away. The partnership with VETO has been amazing. But with that being said, do the little things, man. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. If you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability or don't do it. Keep trying to get better no matter what it is. I hate people saying, oh, I didn't know. It's 2024. Any information that we could possibly want is at our fingertips. So if you didn't know, it's because you didn't want to know. All right? Grind now, especially while you're young. Put in that work. Nobody has anything because they sat around and waited for it to come. That's not the way the world works. All right. Bust your ass, put in the time, and good things will come to those people. All right. Be a good person. And another thing that Robert said is, I will always, my Christian faith, I will always believe in God. I will always be an American. I will always support our military. Semper Fi, do or fucking die. And I'm never going to change. I'm not going to fall into the social norm. That's not me, never will be, to the day that I fucking die. So with that being said, I love all of you, man. I appreciate you. Have an amazing weekend. And tell my friends over at HVAC Overtime I said hello. All right? See ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our